Kevin Miller, director producer of the film Generation RX, is our guest. Of course, in the early 80s, it did come out that they knew it caused massive increases in suicides, just Prozac alone. And after decades of fighting, they now admit on the Prozac and other variants, serotonin reuptake inhibitors, that it does cause that. So it's an oxymoron. And 9 times out of 10 with the cases I've seen, they put them on one drug, then it doesn't work. They put them on 2 or 3, 4, and they end up in a mental institution or committing suicide or going crazy or finally get off the drugs. But you have to get them off. You have to go off slowly, or that can cause even bigger problems. But now they have drugs to treat the drugs. I see the TV ad saying, oh, you've got mental problems from your Prozac. Well, take this drug. It'll take care of the Prozac. It's just totally sick. Please continue with the story you were telling about all these men working together to carry out this great evil.
Well, I think, Alex, it's just that, the medical ethics have just completely gone out the window. If they ever existed, they are long in the distant past by now. Because, frankly, these men, and when you mentioned Prozac, the original study that we unearthed, and we found paperwork to track this, as you know, 1982 were the first tests that were done on Prozac, and they were done in Germany. And the German equivalent of the FDA basically said, there's a real problem with this drug. In the first trials alone, 16 people tried to kill themselves. And we're talking about 16 out of the first 43 or something.
And others attack people, but that's great. You put a bunch of kids on that and give them guns, then you have an excuse to ban the Second Amendment.
Well, and I've been listening to your program for many years, and I heard someone attack you once about the fact that you mentioned that the Columbine killers and some of the other people have been on drugs. Let me just put this nonsense on the other side to rest once and for all. It is absolutely a fact that at the bare minimum, 8 out of the last 12 school shooters around the country were indeed on these antidepressant drugs. It probably was at least 9 out of the last 12, but they sealed the records of one of the Columbine killers, and so none of us know for certain.
Yeah, but his friends said he was on Ritalin and Prozac, but you're right, they sealed it, and then the other one was on it.
That's exactly right. And we know that he was going to a psychiatrist. So, how many troubled kids, as you said before, would not be prescribed these antidepressant drugs? So, what they started with was something very commonsensical. They started with this, with the ADHD aspect, and they really tried to just control the kids' behavior. Then all of a sudden there was a problem. There was the DEA of all agencies coming out and saying, wait a minute, there's a problem with these with this methylphenidate, with Ritalin, with these stimulant drugs, and they're causing this vast array of side effects, and violent side effects were among them, and addiction problems and all the rest of it. And so, then they went into a big PR campaign to basically combat the DEA. And, this was the mid-1990s, and there was a 734% increase in the number of kids that were prescribed Ritalin for, quote, ADHD drug from 1990 to 1994 alone,
and then the kids that go on the Ritalin, tend to get depressed, so then they put them on Prozac-type drugs, don't they? And yes. Then, as kids start committing suicide and killing other people and hurting other people, there's mental illness at the school. Everybody's got to be screened now by the new freedom, and then lo and behold, the psychologists find that everybody needs to be put on drugs.
Well, here's the crazy part of it. As you say, they put the kids on Ritalin. So first they start them on a lower dose. They might be 5 years old or 6 years old or maybe even 4 years old. And then after a while, they note that same dose of Ritalin isn't, quote, working. The kid seems to be, exercising his own ability and his own intellect. So then they raise the dose. Well, then what happens is it kicks in with a side effect that's very well known. After they raise the dose of the Ritalin, the child has a psychotic reaction. So once the child has a psychotic reaction, they rush the kid to the doctor because he's talking crazy and he's a mile a minute and just can't be controlled. And the doctor, instead of saying, oh, that's a well-known side effect of methylphenidate, of Ritalin, we gave him too much, we need to take him off this drug. No, they don't say that, as you know, Alex. Then they say he's bipolar. Now he's bipolar, so now we put him on these powerful, potent, dangerous antipsychotic drugs for which there is no cure. And this is what we're doing to our
Generation
kids.
RX, a film by Kevin P. Miller. He's on the line with us. We'll come right back after this quick break and continue. Ladies and gentlemen, they cold-bloodedly are engaging in problem reaction solution. This was all planned out, all charted out.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
This is Alex Jones. Have you heard of the Millionaire Patriot? Well, you should. He has a free handgun and 5 days of firearms training waiting for you. That's right. You can attend 5 days of world-class gun training at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute and secure a 30-state concealed weapons permit, all for pennies on the dollar. Plus, if you act fast, the Millionaire Patriot will give you a free Springfield Armory XD pistol in the caliber of your choice. I believe now is the time that you and your family need to be armed and trained to levels that exceed law enforcement and military standards. Front Sight provides such training without any boot camp mentality or drill instructor attitudes. This is real. Don't miss out. Secure a Front Sight defensive handgun course, plus a 30-state concealed weapons permit for pennies on the dollar, and get your free handgun. Go to frontsight.com today. That's FRONTSIGHT.com. Go to frontsight.com for your training and free gun. Hello, friends. This is Alex Jones. I've told you for a long time it's important to be self-sufficient, and today that's more important than ever. We need to be independent, and food and water is the key. You'll never have to stand in a bread line if you have your own bread. You'll never have to go to the Superdome and beg for FEMA to take care of your family in any emergency if you simply prepare. No one is going to take care of your family in the final equation but you. You know eFoodsDirect.com is still able to ship storable food that's safe from E. coli, salmonella, genetic alteration, or Chinese imports. And they do it at almost half the cost of last year's grocery prices. Call 1-800-409-5633. Or on the web, go to eFoodsDirect.com. Visit eFoodsDirect.com and look over the fine list of high-quality, freeze-dried, and dehydrated foods they have to offer. Watch the free videos, look at their online catalog, or give them a call at 1-800-409-5633. Again, 800-409-5633, or on the web at eFoodsDirect.com. Take action today. The first step is getting storable food.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting PatriotInternet.com. For about $2 per month, PatriotInternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. PatriotInternet.com will bypass filters, blocked sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With PatriotInternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, PatriotInternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from PatriotInternet.com. Visit PatriotInternet.com today.
Another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing. I mean nothing, honey, if it ain't free.
I want to talk to our guest more about the film and the families he talks to and the information he brings out. It's so well done. Generation RX, available at Infowars.com. But then I want to talk about solutions, where this is going. I mean, if we don't expose these people and fight them, they're going to make everybody take drugs. And they're now to the point of trying to make the kids take it. And I had a writer for Psychology Today calling me for some big cover story that's coming out soon. And I would bring up the fact that it's not normal to have more than 2/3 of the kids on these drugs. And he would just laugh at me. I mean, it's all just a big joke to these people. It's all just a big business. A very, very sickening guild. I mean, folks, having 75% of kids on strong antipsychotics and other drugs, that isn't normal. Having 5% on it isn't normal. Somebody shouldn't be on drugs unless they were already trying to kill people and already trying to chew their fingers off or somebody shouldn't be on these dangerous drugs even if they think they're the Pope. You know, just they're nutty and that's the end of it. No, they say all normal behavior is abnormal because it's their business model. This is the new priesthood. We're going to go back to Kevin Miller here in just a moment with Generation RX. I did want to tell you about a few of our sponsors that have made today's show possible. One of them is something that every one of my listeners needs to have. I have one in my car. You should have one, whether it's just the little secret PIN recorder or whether it's the little bit more expensive in-car system that's hidden cameras in your car that you just hit a button and the cameras start recording what the police or others are doing. And then you've got a secret record of what happened. And the website is diganet.net. That's diganet.net. Diganet.net.